Hello, everyone. Let's set our today's question. How do we build progressive Angular apps? Reliable, fast, re-engaging, and do it natively in terms of Angular platform. There is a great option available. My name is Maxim Salnikov. I came here from Oslo, Norway, where I work for a company called Jok as a full-stack developer. You're welcome to follow my Twitter. I will share this slide deck plus full code sample in GitHub. It could be quite useful for you right after this session. Working with the latest web front-end technologies is a part of my job. This is why I'm really passionate about progressive web apps, and I contribute my knowledge and experience back to developer community by speaking and training on the conferences, as well as organizing some events. Angular Oslo meetup, NG Vikings conference will happen for the second time in Helsinki, Finland. Call for papers is open. Last but not least, NG community. If you organize meetup, user group, conference about Angular or Angular ecosystem, this is place for you. Tomorrow, during lunch break, we have official but informal gathering here at AngularConnect in Mars room. So, do you want to start Angular meetup in your town? You are welcome. This is a perfect fit for you. We'll answer all your questions and support you during this meeting. Back to progressive web apps. Before going to Angular, let's recall the concept. According to the current definition in Wikipedia, this is just an application that uses latest browser APIs. And by doing this, it's trying to combine the best parts from two different universes, mobile, native, and web. On the same page, there are 10 classical characteristics of PWAs. We'll focus only on some of them today. Powered by service worker. And they are connectivity independence and network optimizations at the same time, and re-engagement, the possibility to send push notifications to our users, our customers, something totally new for web. So what could we implement using service worker API? We can get some functionality of our application available offline, like starting up in general, like serving previously cached data. Even online, we can optimize a lot of stuff by, again, using the previously cached data. But networking is not the only service worker responsibility. Also, it can subscribe to push notifications and send the ones to user display. And also, we can organize cross-clients messaging. By client, we mean open tab with our application. And a lot of different things. Service worker API is quite extensive one. So how does it look? We have our application, we have some network. And our service worker is sitting in between, intercepting requests from our application and serving its own responses. Both app and service worker are living in our browsers, but in totally different context though. Code-wise, this is simple JavaScript file. Good, what about support in different browsers and platforms? I have a bad and good news for you. Bad, it's not in production yet for all major browsers, and this blank slide symbolizes this. Good news, these APIs are under active development, if not in production yet. In short, Chrome and all Blink-based browsers are in the game for a long time, as well as Firefox. Starting from August, Service Worker is under development for the WebKit. That means that soon we'll have it in Safari browser, which will be a game changer for PWA support in Apple mobile devices. Microsoft Edge behind the flag in Developer Edition now. Good to have some time for us developers to test and try our web apps in Edge before these APIs will be available publicly next spring. Okay, frameworks. Web front-end frameworks are also fine with PWAs. It's generated by default in Create React App CLI, and many other popular frameworks have flags or templates to generate some PWA scaffolds. What's about Angular? Starting from the Angular version 5 and even earlier via some betas, and starting with Angular CLI version 1.6, we have a support for automatic progressive web apps in the form of Angular Service Worker. But before we start, let me invite all of you to another community I organize dedicated to progressive web apps. It has a form of Slack team with almost 900 developers at the moment. It's our pleasure to answer all your questions and support you in your experiments around PWA. Okay, let's have a look on how could we create a service worker-driven Angular application. Super simple. Just use service worker flag when you generate a new application, or its alias, which is just SW. One small notice here. This flag is available in Angular CLI 1.6, and the very first beta of 1.6 was released when? Less than 24 hours ago. Then, run a production build for this application. Service worker is active only for production, and you'll find 2 extra files in your dist folder, which are NGSW worker.js service worker itself, and its configuration file, which is NGSW JSON, or it's better term, manifest. Now, serve this dist folder with any static web server and go to Application tab. What we'll see there? Service worker is registered and cache storage is full of some data. Why do we need all this? Super simple. Switch to offline mode and refresh again and be surprised. Your application is still available. We just got our application working for us and for our customers independently from the network, without internet at all, after just first initial loading, right? Application shell is ready for us 100% automatically. Well, it was the best possible case when we have the privilege to use beta version of Angular CLI, and when we can create a fresh app. What if you want to add this support to our existing Angular 5 application? No problem at all. We just have to reproduce the same steps CLI does for us. Install corresponding package, super simple. Register Angular Service Worker for our application. The next slide is about this. Create configuration file. We'll go through this in details. And enable build support by this simple command, or just by manually editing your CLI configuration file. What's the proper way to register Angular Service Worker? We can go for like vanilla JavaScript way. All these methods are for us. But we are going to use it natively, right, in Angular way. So let's use corresponding method from Service Worker module. We import this module in our root module. To make our logic a bit smarter, we might also have to import environment. And next, during imports, we specify it like this. We use register method of service worker module only for production. Let's have a look on the configuration file generated by CLI for us. It's a simple JSON file named NGSW config.json, located in src folder with some main settings. Index. Path to our index HTML. Basically, this is the place where we redirect all navigation requests. Asset groups. Named groups of resources, which are the parts of our application distributive. Actually, they form the released version of our application. The most natural usage for this setting is, of course, providing app shell resources. Data groups. It's not in the boilerplate generated by CLI 1.6, but still we have the possibility for runtime caching. It's named groups of resources to be cached during runtime or on demand. When we have to apply one of caching strategies. The best example for data groups usage is calls to our API. Let's go through some settings in asset groups. It's quite simple. Name, it's up to us how to name this group. Install mode could be prefetch for the resources we wish to download and cache during initial service worker start. Most obvious mode for critical app shell resources. And second available option here is lazy. Each resource is cached individually only when it's requested. And actual set of resources. Let's have a look how do we specify resources. In our example, we ask to include some files. To handle versioning, CLI will generate hashes for them and save them to NGSW manifest file. Or if we have some files which are already include version in their name, hash, then we can optimize our build process a bit and put it in special field called version files. In both cases, we can use globes as a pattern. At the same asset groups property of configuration, we might want to have one more group for lazy loading. For example, for non-critical parts of our application shell, which could be the contents of assets folder. Let's name this group the same assets. Let's have install mode lazy. And we have one more option here, which is update mode. It also could take these two options, prefetch or lazy. And in this example, we are going for prefetch. So if some resource is in our cache, we'll go to update it immediately. Resources, we specify files using the same property. And I decided to showcase that also, in addition to contents of our dist folder, we can pre-cache some resources from other origins. For example, here I try to make web font with icons, with material icons, as a part of my shell. So they will become part of my application shell after their first request. And I use globes here as well. Awesome. Our application shell is fast, robust, and really flexible in settings. The same I can say about runtime caching settings. Let's go through them. We have groups of policies in data groups properties of configuration file. We name the group and specify URLs, exactly the same way like we do for asset groups, a list of glob patterns. The core difference of data groups versus asset groups is following. These groups are not the part of what we call application version. They are cached using the policies we provide in cache configuration field, cache config. The main switch here is strategy. We have two ones, freshness and performance. Basically, network first and cache first. Plus many other parameters to fine-tune the caching. In this particular example, we are going to cache all the responses from our API endpoint, starting with breaking news and using network first, which is obvious for this kind of data, right? For the contrast, for archive endpoints, we could use a different strategy, which is performance. And basically, this is cache-first strategy. We could be much more conservative here and save some network requests. Awesome. Now we have full control on the networking. We handle both application shell and runtime requests. The last point in adding service worker to existing application was build support, adding build support. In Angular CLI 1.6, this is just one setting. You remember this comment, right? But in CLI 1.5, which is stable at the moment and will be like mainstream for some time, we have to do some manual work. Luckily, it all can be easily automated by NPM scripts. So what do we have to do? First, we have to generate an NGSW manifest file based on our configuration file, right? Actually, we can use, and we have to use, special tool included right in the package. We pass as a parameter, as one of parameters, our configuration file, and we got this resulting control file or manifest file. Second, we just have to copy service worker file itself from distribution package, from node modules folder. Then we could create a command for running production build, plus adding these two scripts right after. After all, if we run npm start build NGSW, we will have all this functionality exposed by Angular CLI 1.6 in 1.5, which is good. Push notifications, really cool. It's my favorite topic. It's a complex one, but thanks to a super simple approach in Angular Service Worker, it can take literally 2 slides to be described. Push is about 2 flows. First, we subscribe user to receive push notifications, and second, we send these notifications after all. To subscribe, we could use native browser method, which is navigator.serviceworker. There are all the methods exposed for subscription to push notifications, but we want to use Angular way. We want to go native Angular way, right? And we have all this possibility. First, we have to import SW push class, which is exposed by Angular by service worker module we registered in our root module recently, right? Inject this dependency, and then as a handler to some button, we could just use request subscription method of this SW push class, which takes 1 parameter, our public key. After this, it returns promise with push subscription object, which we just have to pass to our backend to have everything up and running for us. Displaying push notifications via Angular Service Worker is both configuration-free and code-free. Literally, we do nothing. We just have to follow some simple convention on our backend side while sending the payload. And convention is super simple. We just have to wrap the data we want to send into notification property and pass all the options from notification spec. Good. So as a result, we'll have something like this. We subscribe, native confirmation dialog. Now we send everything to our backend, and receiving a bunch of notifications right now. That's it. A couple of words about application version update flow. Let's say we deployed version 1 on our server, and obviously in the browser, on the first load, we'll see the same version. Good. Now imagine we updated our application. When the user will open the same tab, what they will see? Still version 1. This is well-known trade-off for PWA. We try to serve application shell as fast as possible. This is why we just take it from cache. At the same time, in parallel, we of course can go and check if there is a new version available. If yes, we will download it, we'll cache it, and on the second request or just reload the page, our user will see actual version. Not so good for user experience, right? But we can improve it, again, using Angular Service Worker features. What if on this point we show some notification to our user that, hey, a new version is available, do you wish to reload it? We can go for check for updates flow. The same. We import SW update class from Service Worker module. We inject it. And then we can listen for available observable exposed by this class. And if update is there, we can use, for example, beautiful Angular material snack bar to show this prompt. And the resulting flow will look like this. We have version 3, reload, and version 4 is already there. This prompt, refresh, version 4 is there. I believe you have seen this kind of notification on many modern websites. That means they are service worker driven. It means they are progressive web apps with all their pros and these little cons, right? So we just went through main available features of Angular Service Worker available at the moment, right now, for Angular 5 applications. Application shell, runtime caching, push notifications, and smart updates flow. Let's list advantages for this. We used just minimal amount of the code, right? Most of these features are configuration driven. We have really interesting update model when we have service worker file like unchangeable, but we download its configuration. It's quite unique in the world of service workers, I'd say. Before serving anything, we check integrity, which is really cool for keeping our applications robust. Plus, lucky we do everything in Angular way, the way we used to. Imports, classes, observables, really cool. What's on the roadmap? We could improve application shell a lot by caching not this raw index HTML, but already pre-rendered. For now, these pieces exist separately from each other, but it would be cool to glue them together. For us, for developers, we will get better debugging support, including sending some events to our server side. And after all, sooner or later, hopefully sooner, we'll generate application in Angular using Angular CLI, progressive by default. And of course, documentation. It's a work in progress. It soon be available. What could you do now? Where to go? On my Medium account, there are a couple of articles I wrote for you, quite extensive ones, both on the theoretical part and practical part. And I would like to remind you my Twitter handle here and say thank you.